Sewing is a creative and rewarding hobby that allows you to make your own unique clothing and accessories. It does not matter if you're a complete beginner or have some sewing experience. Using sewing patterns is essential to creating well-fitted and professional-looking garments. In this video, we will look at the world of free sewing patterns for beginners and provide a guide on how to read and understand them. Sewing patterns are templates that provide step-by-step instructions for creating garments or other fabric items. They include a range of information, from measurements and fabric requirements to cutting layouts and assembly instructions. Patterns are available for various skill levels, making them an excellent resource for beginners who are just starting their sewing journey. Sewing is a great hobby to get into and a great way to create custom garments and accessories. There are lots of free sewing patterns for beginners available online. Here are a few sites to get you started. Craftsy has a great selection of free sewing patterns for beginners, including everything from tops and skirts to home decor and accessories. All Free Sewing has hundreds of free sewing patterns for every skill level. They also have great tutorials and guides to help you learn how to read and interpret a sewing pattern. So Easy has lots of free patterns for beginner sewists, including clothing, bags, and quilts. They also have helpful tutorials to explain the different parts of a sewing pattern. How to read free sewing patterns. Reading sewing patterns can seem daunting to the inexperienced, but with the right guidance, it can be an enjoyable and rewarding experience. To start, it's important to understand the various elements of a pattern, such as the fabric requirements, notches, and seam allowances. Once you've familiarized yourself with the pattern, make sure to read through the instructions very carefully. Don't rush. It's also a good idea to mark any important details on the pattern, such as measurements, so that you don't lose track of them. When cutting out the pieces, make sure to use sharp scissors and to use the pattern markings as a reference. Finally, when stitching the pieces together, always double-check that you're following the instructions correctly. By taking your time and following the instructions carefully, you will be able to successfully complete the sewing project. Sewing patterns for beginners. If you're looking for sewing patterns for beginners, there are lots of great options out there. Here are a few to get you started. Style. This website offers a variety of beginner-friendly sewing patterns for all types of garments, from dresses to blouses to skirts and more. Sewing.org. This website is a great resource for all levels of sewers, and it has lots of beginner-friendly patterns to choose from. If you're just getting started with sewing and are looking for a fun project, a dress sewing pattern is a great place to start. There are a variety of free sewing patterns available for beginners, ranging from simple align dresses to more complex designs. To help you choose the right pattern, consider the following points. Fabric type. Not all fabrics are suitable for dressmaking, so it's important to choose the right fabric for the project. For beginners, cotton is a great choice, as it's easy to work with and comfortable to wear. Skill level. Look for patterns that are suitable for your skill level. Many patterns will list the skill level required, from beginner to advanced. Start with something simple and work your way up. Size. Make sure you choose a pattern that is the right size for you. Most patterns will include instructions for resizing, but if you're new to sewing, it's best to stick with the size listed on the pattern. Instructions. Look for patterns that have detailed instructions and illustrations. This will make it easier to follow the pattern and help you create a beautiful garment. Once you've found the perfect pattern, you can get started on your dress. With patience and practice, you'll soon be creating beautiful garments that you can be proud of. Tips for beginners on how to trace a sewing pattern. If you're new to sewing, tracing a pattern can seem like a daunting task. However, it's actually quite straightforward and easy once you get the hang of it. Here are a few tips to get you started. Choose the correct paper. You'll need to choose pattern paper or tracing paper that is lightweight but still stable enough to handle the tracing and cutting processes. Cut out the pieces. Once you've traced the pattern onto the paper, use a pair of sharp fabric scissors to cut out the pieces. Make sure to cut precisely along the lines you traced. Label the pieces. To keep your pattern pieces organized, label each piece with a piece number, the fabric type, and the size. Transfer markings. If the pattern has any notches, darts, or special markings, use a tracing wheel to transfer them onto the paper pattern pieces. Tracing a pattern is a great way to get a custom fit for any garment. With a little practice, you'll be a pro in no time. Advantages of using free sewing patterns. Free sewing patterns are an ideal starting point for beginners, as they allow you to practice your skills without the financial commitment. These patterns are available online and cover a wide range of styles, from simple tops to more complex dresses. Additionally, they often come with detailed instructions and illustrations, making the learning process easier. Choosing the right pattern for your skill level. As a beginner, it's essential to select patterns that match your current skill level. Look for patterns labeled beginner, easy, or simple. These patterns generally involve fewer pieces and straightforward construction techniques, ensuring a smoother sewing experience. Understanding pattern terminology. Sewing patterns use specific terminology that might be confusing for newcomers. Key terms include seam allowance, grain line, notches, and darts. It's crucial to familiarize yourself with these terms to accurately interpret the instructions. Pattern instructions guide you through each step of the sewing process. They include information about cutting the fabric, sewing seams, adding closures, and finishing touches. Take your time to read and understand each instruction before proceeding. Before starting a sewing project, gather all the necessary materials and tools. This includes fabric, thread, needles, scissors, pins, and a sewing machine. Having everything ready will make the sewing process more efficient. Accurate measurements are essential for a well-fitting garment. Use a tape measure to measure your bust, waist, hips, and other relevant areas. Refer to the pattern size chart to determine the correct size to cut. Printing and assembling PDF patterns. Many free sewing patterns are available as downloadable PDF files. After downloading, print the pattern pieces and assemble them according to the provided instructions. Ensure that the scaling is correct before cutting the fabric. Carefully cut the fabric according to the pattern pieces. Transfer any markings, such as notches and darts, to the fabric using tailor's chalk or washable markers. These markings are essential for aligning and sewing the pieces accurately. Not all bodies are the same, so you might need to make minor adjustments for a perfect fit. Common adjustments include altering the hem length, adjusting the waistline, or adding darts for better shaping. If your pattern includes closures like zippers or buttons, follow the instructions carefully to add them. These closures provide functionality and aesthetics to your finished garment. Pressing your seams and finished garment is crucial for a professional look. Use an iron to press seams open or to one side, and follow the recommended pressing techniques in the pattern instructions. Mistakes can happen, even to experienced sewists. If you encounter an issue, don't be discouraged. Look for solutions online or ask for advice in sewing communities. Common issues include mismatched seams, puckering fabric, and uneven hems. Joining online sewing communities and forums can be incredibly helpful, especially for beginners. These communities provide a platform to ask questions, share experiences, and gain valuable insights from more experienced sewists. Embarking on your sewing journey as a beginner can be both exciting and fulfilling. Free sewing patterns offer a fantastic way to hone your skills while creating stylish and personalized garments. Remember to take your time, read instructions carefully, and don't hesitate to seek help when needed. With practice, you'll master the art of sewing and create beautiful pieces that you can be proud of.